Greetings, friends, and a very warm welcome to my channel. This video will be the first of a series in which I want to explain various aspects of how I went about building components for my 1:20 scale live steam locomotive chassis. This happened to be a 080 based on Norfolk and Western's design. Although I changed, since I explained in my first video earlier that I didn't think any switcher had ever been built with box drivers. But I liked the box design, and I thought, well, that's what I can do, and that's what I did with this one. I went to a box design. But today, the first of this series is to deal with the brake hangers. How to build brake hangers in an easy manner by cutting them, machining them in a solid block of aluminum. This locomotive takes 6 identical ones for the main drivers and a pair of identical ones that are different than these for the rear set of drivers. So there's 8 pieces involved here of the outer brake hangers. I machined them from a solid block of aluminum. I did so in one operation by having a block of aluminum in my vise, so that I could do all the operations, because there are several points in the operations that are identical, and there's no need to move the parts in order to complete each operation. This gives you an example of what I did. This is a rough drawing. This is my first rough drawing of how I wanted to do it. Shows you the 3/4 inch thick block that I used of aluminum, and it's probably about 60 inches long by 4 inches wide. The first thing I did was establish this here on each side. So I would have zeroed the vise to the table so it was square to the table. Then I would have indicated to the edge of this bar and started machining in steps down to this depth here, full length of the bar. The same on the other side, full length of the bar all the way through. Then I would have went in and I would have established these cuts here, which establishes these brake hangers in pairs. That's a pair right there facing each other. That's a pair right there. So I cut down beyond the depth of what I would have them cut when I eventually cut loose with a bandsaw. So that was the first step, and then I would have followed it with these grooves here. These are all easy to establish because you're already on center with these with an end mill. All you do is go in and touch and go down the same depth for each one of these all the way through. So there's no adjustments in how you alter your operation. The same thing, I used a wood rough cutter to cut these slots here. The same depth all the way through, no problem. They're really simple to do. So I had a block of aluminum set up in the vise, which I'll show you here. Here's the block as it was set in the vise. This was the initial operations where I had cut down the shoulders. This is the width of the actual face of the brake hangers. And there's the groove that goes deeper than what I intended to have the end result of each set. So this is 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets, and then that would be the set for the rear brake hangers, which are different. They're just short ones. They don't attach to the top and bottom of the frame. Here's an example of the completed machine work after I had done the slots in here for the brake levers themselves to be connected to the brake hangers. And these are just reliefs for the pockets of the hangers. This shows it set up in my bandsaw against a fence so that I could saw full length. And as I got to this point between these two, this would have been parted off. So what happened then is this is what I wound up with. In pairs, here they are. Here's the 3 main pairs for the main front 3 main drivers. So then I dropped these in the vise this way. and machined the back flats to the thickness I wanted. Did all that, and I also then established holes. These holes are just pinholes. They're only about 1/4 inch deep. And what they're for is for the operation on a rotary table to establish the arc around that end. And here's a fixture in a rotary table, a fixture that I machined especially for this operation to nest these in and groove this block so I can nest these. And then this shows where it would have been on a pin, and this shows the machining operation, the initial machining operation around. This shows another view where there would have been a pin in this fixture here. This fixture is being held in place. This shows a completed operation of one of the brake hangers. That's actually a pair there. I had then established these holes here. They're different. Here's a completed brake hanger to show you the whole operation, what the end result is. You can see it has the correct contours here. Everything's contoured here. It looks pretty much like the prototype. I built plates for the back similar to these front ones. These are just a blank plate with holes drilled to match the fronts so that you can mount it to the frame. This hole is for the equalizer system. Show you that next. Here's a photo of how the equalizer system works. This is the fulcrum pin. There's the pins for the fulcrum. This is the rocker that would have been used for the rockers for the spring hangers. These are a little bit troublesome to get apart here. Then this shows the completed parts installed. Shows the front 3 sets of brake hangers, and you can almost see into where the rear set is. But this shows the fulcrum on the back side. It shows installed and how that was done. These are just temporarily installed with little white light wire instead of some kind of pin. Here's another example installed. This is the rear fulcrum for the rear brake hanger. They're different than the others, but it shows how you still have a fulcrum, and you show how the springs articulate here through. This gives you the equalization. And this shows the rear brake hanger. These were just short ones. They didn't have an extension go to the bottom, but everything else was identical. All these operations here were identical. The slot was the same. This was the same. The sides are the same. So it made it easy to build those the way I did, and not have to use castings or try to figure out castings. Here's a photo of the completed rear hangers showing in place, showing how they were mounted, how I did the mounting, and then also shows the way the rear axle is hung in place, and then how the fulcrum goes to the next axle and how that axle. The front 3 sets are just like this. The springs are over the top. Very interesting way. I really enjoyed the machining in this operation. I enjoyed making these parts. But if you are going to be building your own locomotive or in the process, and you want to have an idea how you can go about building a set of brake hangers in an easier manner, perhaps, than trying to do it just one at a time, this may give you some ideas that will help you. If you have ideas that can help others, I appreciate you share that with me. And maybe I can share that in a future video too, some of your ideas. So this is part 1. It'll follow up. It's not going to be in order necessarily, but eventually I'll put together a playlist so it can be more in order. The first operation really in building a model locomotive, the way I did it, was the processing of the wheels themselves. So eventually I'll get into that, get into the equalizing system, how that works, the frames, cutting the frames, and what I used and why I used what I did. But this, hopefully this video can help you. I would ask that you share it with others in your community that might enjoy this and might get something out of it to help them. But I appreciate your visit. I ask that you subscribe if you like. If you like what you see and you want more of it down the road, I appreciate that very much. Thank you for your visit. Please share it again, and just ask you to keep enjoying this awesome hobby. And if you're building a locomotive, I know that you're having a grand time doing so. So thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you again with the next video.